Great. Here. Buchanan. Earl. Here. Keeler. Here. Garlow. Here. All right. At this time, do any visitors like to address council? Just state your name for the record.
My name is Bill Evans.
Go ahead.
Okay, should I restate what I already brought up?
Yes, for the record.
Okay. The questions I had were, the minutes be published so that the public can view them, and it's possible to get a agenda of future meetings, topics of discussion published prior to meetings so that the public knows what's going to transpire here, if they need to show up or not. My other question was, what constitutes an emergency? What are the guidelines that you all use? Say, we're going to not read this 3 times, but we're just going to vote on it as an emergency. Because I may be mistaken, but I read in the paper the RETA thing that's coming up. There was a recommendation that be passed as an emergency. RETA's existed since 1971. Why that would be an emergency now at this point? That's not it. I just like more transparency, more openness. I'd like to know what's going on.
Emergency just means it's going to be immediately into effect upon passage. Council has to suspend the rules to get around the requirement of 3 readings, okay? But the emergency issue goes into whether it goes into effect immediately upon passage or whether it waits 30 days.
Okay. Well, I'm mistaken in my understanding of how it works then.
And the emergency would be on the issue of the village, not on whether their circumstances warrant it. Whether it needs to go into effect right away. Maybe it's due to financial issues, maybe it's going to health and safety, whether it's that sort of thing.
I read about the water meters. I understand that needed to not wait. Okay. I'm misunderstanding what emergency meant. And what I thought it meant was that you weren't going to give the public enough time to discuss the issues where, you vote on it and pass it after one reading. And what you're talking about there is suspension of rules.
On it, okay.
Yeah.
And then it's up for a second reading
Okay.
Tonight. The council could vote to suspend the rules and pass it as an emergency, which would mean it would go into effect immediately on that passage. So
If they were to do that, because we didn't have an agenda for previous minutes, you didn't really give people enough time to actually research and think about it, which is where I am in that, in case you're wondering. The RETA thing, I lived in a RETA community. That's the other thing I want to talk about, but you're going to talk about that later. I can wait.
We'll briefly go over the discussion, but at this point is your opportunity to talk.
Okay.
Once you go.
All right, RETA. Okay. The numbers that were quoted in the newspaper, where were those generated from? I saw some numbers quoted, and to me, it could be nothing but pure speculation. The vast majority of people work in a traditional job where their employer pays their taxes, like myself. I don't even work, I work in Pennsylvania, but I'm a railroader, so technically I work in Latonia. So I never see that money. It gets paid directly to the village, works great. Most people are in a situation. So for us to take the burden of collecting taxes and pass it off to somebody else who's going to save us money when they have 175 people on their staff. I mean, I looked at their financial statements. They claim to have a 1.57% last year. I'm not an accountant, but it doesn't look right to me. If you look at how much they bring on and how much they pay back, it's actually 0.5%. This is what they collected from municipalities as a whole. This is what they paid back. Aside from their accounting nomenclatures that they use people, it's 5%. So they say 1.5% average. Who is it getting shorted? Is it the big communities like Cuyahoga Falls, or is it the small communities, which would be Latonia? So it's hard to tell reading their financial statements who's paying that higher percentage of collection fees. It's like Coinstar. My son collects change. Is it good financial advice for me to tell him to go to Coinstar, or for him to take it to my bank and deposit it? What's better advice to him? Because that's all RETA is a Coinstar. They take a percentage, give us what's already supposed to be coming to us, that's all. And Brecksville, you gotta drive 85 miles from here to talk to somebody about it in person. So, those are the things that I thought about. And I lived in a RETA community, like I said, most people, especially in Laconia, who's really got their own secondary business hiding stuff. I mean, look around our town, this is that kind of place where there's a whole lot of that going on. I don't think it's gonna generate a lot more money, but everybody's gonna be upset and have to deal with the RETA people. So, and you can go on Google, type in RETA complaints and see how many they get. It's a lot. So,
I do appreciate that.
thank you.
We're still up in the discussion for it. There's a lot of cost, benefits, cost to run our office, cost of whatever, that's what we're looking at.
That being said, is there still gonna be a tax clerk?
No, we will be removing that position. That's.
So then you just trust them, and there's no one actually looking at it down here.
The state and our fiscal officer oversees that aspect. Now on the agenda, we can start publishing. We don't only get that fully, set up, but I can publish the day before online. We also do record the meetings now. These are recorded. They are published online too. So at any given point, probably tomorrow, this meeting will be published online too.
I'll jump back in. The physical mention you've seen that had them up here today, we're having an issue with our internet. The website designer, I guess, he's no longer wants to be our website. And we're training a couple of the in-house girls. Those will be up as soon as we can, so we'll check for those. And we are being recorded now, audio and video, and we do have a YouTube channel. Kevin, you know what the YouTube channel is? I'm sure you searched Village of Latonia.
I visited the website, I didn't see it standing out.
Yeah, again, our website hasn't been updated in quite a while because of our problems with the design. But if you go to YouTube, just search Village of Latonia, you'll probably stumble across it. And we do have the first two meetings of the year on there. So we will get everybody one of those on in a day or two.
And we are redoing our webpage, have it all linked in there, but it's a process getting somebody in here to redo all that stuff. So our webpage has been out of date.
So where are you getting down?
No, that's fine, and that's understandable, and if you heard, like, back in September, that was one of the things I wanted to address, just to open it up, and I do appreciate you coming in and bringing that forward, so we will try to, once we get the webpage online, it'll be pretty easy access for anybody, to watch the previous meeting, get the agenda, take care of all that business there.
You're always welcome to come down and see me. It makes me feel like people
Well-
here, and I enjoy that, so.
Do you have anything else?
No, that's it. I appreciate it.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Anything else at this time? I'll get you ready again. All right.
I was talking to Randy, I had sent Larry Hefner, check at Christmas time, a Christmas card and a check at the fire department, it wasn't a big check, but it's never been cashed, and I'm just kind of wondering where it's around at. If somebody can check with Larry, I addressed it, you know.
Look into that. All right.
Paint job is very inviting, very nice.
You will.
Hi, I'm Laura Tubo. I'm your area manager for First Energy. You're familiar with Dave Turner previous, it's taking place, and we came to introduce it. And cards for you, if you have any issues, or concerns, or any questions. I recently spoke with the mayor, so I appreciate that, but, again, I'm not easy.
Thank you. All right, any other, visitors like to address council at this time? Okay. Moving on to the approval of the January 18th, 2000 council meeting minutes and the January impact.
Make a motion that the minutes before the approval is presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Fire. Yes. Barry. Yes. Earl. Yes. Keeler. Yes. Earl.
Yes. Going to finance, Mr. Chismar?
General fund, 9,187.93, police, 14,718.93, street construction, 5,224.87, state highway, 1,352.90, cemetery, 2,333.10, fire, 1,968.3, EMS, 1,040.96, water operating, 6,441.16, sewer operating 13-103 and 22. Sewer capital improvement, 2005-28, let's get lab. Lab, 3,683 and 61, for a total of 61,282 and 71.
The motion that the warrant is drawing and bills be paid.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Fire. Yes. Barry. Yes. Earl. Yes. Keeler. Yes. Garlow.
Yes.
And I'll make a motion to approve the cash summary report.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Fire. Yes. Barry. Yes. Earl. Yes. Keeler. Yes. Garlow.
Yes.
All right, is there any business under finance at this time? Moving on to legislation, Attorney Wiggins.
The first one will be the second reading of ordinance number 17-2482. That'll be the second reading of that particular ordinance. It's ordinance authorizing the mayor and fiscal officer to enter into an agreement for participation in the regional council of governments for the administration and collection of municipal impact in the village of Freetonia. And that's the second reading of that particular ordinance.
I'd like a motion to pass the second reading of ordinance number 17-2480.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Fire. Yes. Barry. Yes. Earl. Keeler. Yes. Garlow.
Yes.
The next one, I think, the cemetery clerk, I think, came before you, for the last meeting. I think she advised you that there was gonna be an increase in the fees for the opening and closing of the graves. So she was making recommendations as to increase the cost that under our particular ordinance in that particular matter. As that became effective, the increase in our fees for our cost, in order to that financial burden, asking that this be passed emergency, that you suspend no rules. This will be ordinance number 17-2483. It's emergency ordinance establishing fees for purchase of grave sites and burials at Oakdale Cemetery, and the distribution of such proceeds off to the village of Freetonia. And that's ordinance number 17-2483.
I'll make a motion to suspend rules to pass ordinance 17-2483 again.
Roll call.
Fire. Yes. Barry. Yes. Earl. Yes. Keeler. Yes. Garlow.
Yes.
Motion to pass ordinance number 17-2483 under the suspension rule.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Fire. Yes. Barry. Yes. Earl. Yes. Keeler. Yes. Garlow.
Yes.
Next one will be ordinance number 17-2484. This is on our water usage rates. We discovered that there was a typographical error. It was only on single users, and it was only on the amount, about one digit on the amount charged above the minimum amounts. So it affected very, very, very few customers, very, very few single users who don't use our sewer system also. But in order to correct that, we're asking that this be passed at 17-2484. It's an ordinance pertaining to the village water usage and services, water rates, distribution, water proceeds, rules and regulations, related matters off the village of Freetonia, and declaring an emergency in order to correct that typographical error on that spot on the ordinance.
Motion to suspend rules to pass ordinance number 17-2484 as
Any discussion? Roll call.
Fire. Yes. Barry. Yes. Earl. Yes. Keeler. Yes. Garlow.
Yes.
motion to pass ordinance number 17-2484 under the suspension rules as read.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Fire. Yes. Barry. Yes. Earl. Yes. Keeler.
Yes. Garlow.
Yes.
This time, council, nothing else under legislation? All right. Moving on to committees, any committees, anything to report?
Yeah, last meeting, please, we talked about two things, the overtime for, have we got that under control? Just come out next and
Yeah, last week we were going to give the new schedule starting Monday.
it was gonna start today, but I was gonna talk about that in my time. I guess secondly, then, what about the hours and days worked that you done that? Yes. Thank you. Oh, I know.
All right, anything else on the committee? Okay. Commissions at this time, there's nothing really report. Moving on to police, Chief Lovejoy.
You guys, and I worked with, Councilman Keeler over the past week for you guys were talking about the dispensary in the area, just to give you some information on that. Just adding to what Councilman Berry was talking about, I put together, obviously, a packet that I gave everybody. And I wanted to discuss a few things tonight, in reference to the manpower hours that we talked about the last meeting, and, just give a little bit of a rebuttal, from the last meeting. I'll start at the top, I'll get through this as fast as I can here. This is a brief overview of, the financial savings that have occurred since I've been employed as the, police chief in Tonga. I hope that after looking over these facts, you agree that the police department can grow and stay where we were, manpower-wise, without any additional burden on the general fund compared to the 2016 budget. By growing and staying the same, you will have a better trained department that can keep our community safe while, staying safe ourselves as the, law enforcement. And I'll just go down through the savings here. And training alone, 2017, every officer must receive 20 hours of training per state guidelines, starting this year. We have 9 officers. OPATA is charging $250 for this training, per person. That equals $2,250. I'm able to do that training. So basically, it's free. Each officer is required to qualify with their weapon one time a year. This training is usually a minimum of $400, or the instructor may charge for each individual officer. We do not have to worry about that because I'm able to do that. Each year, officers are required to qualify with their taser. OPATA charges $250 per officer. With 9 officers, that amounts to $250 again. Don't have to worry about that because I'm able to do that. Savings in pay. George Long was part of the department as of last year. Tonia was paying $5,000 towards his salary, even after the grant money was applied to his salary. George did not fill any manpower hours at the police department. The detective position that George held is still open, and if somebody was put in that position, they would receive, I believe it's $1 more an hour. Is that correct?
I'm not sure how much she would go.
That position is not filled, and I do not plan on filling that. That equals, $5,000, but then $1 an hour, even though nobody's in there, that saves the village, $2,080. Both the previous chief and previous Sergeant Rick received longevity pay.
Chief did not,
He did not? Okay.
salaried people did not receive longevity.
Rick received longevity pay. Whatever that amount was, it's a savings to the village compared to last year because nobody, as of right now, receives that. Mayor's Court, between last year and this year, Mayor's Court is headed towards a profit, if that's what you wanna call it, I know we're gonna get into that discussion, to the general fund, between $18,000 and $25,000, due to enforcement. Donations. The new radio system, I'll just go through this briefly. The new radio system that we put in place, that Radio One gave quotes before I was here, we ended up saving about $20,000 off that job, just because of the donations and what we were able to do at that. School resource officer. I reached out to a private donor that does not live in the village of Latonia, and they were willing to pay half the salary of the school resource officer, even though that's really not in our budget per se, because we probably wouldn't put it there. I just thought that it should be out there that, you know, that was donated and then the school is paying for the other half. So the village is not being paid towards that position. So on the next page, the very brief, or the very simple summary is on the next page. Officers training, we're saving $4,900 a year compared to last year. No detective at the task force, saving $7,000, whatever the longevity may be. Mayor's Court is a surplus, $18,000 to $25,000, and savings due to donations is $20,000 to $20,000, which doesn't really apply. And I gave you guys the hard copy of the Mayor's Court stuff. So what I'm asking, at the last meeting, we talked about going down to 2 extra shifts per week compared to what I was working since I've been here. And I've voiced my opinion then, and over the last couple of weeks, I've been able to reach out to the community and talk to the community and just about every person in this room. My concern is that, obviously, if we go down to that, we're not going to have the same results of the drug arrest. We're not going to have the same results of the traffic enforcement. And that's been my main goal since I've been here, obviously, was the drug arrest. And I've listened to the community, and their main goal is the drugs. With one person we work per shift, it just cannot be done. It's not safe for us, and just the tactics alone, you just can't do it. I think I've shown that even without dipping into the general fund per se, with all the money coming in from the general fund, we could go back up to 208 hours a week, and it's no strain on the general budget. And I'm asking that tonight, that you reconsider and allow us to stay at 208 hours a week, so we can continue to do the enforcement that the community's requested me to do, that I want to do, and do it safely. Because even though we have a very good staff, and I do my best, I'm going to be very honest to say the results will not be the same. It's impossible if we go back down to that. So I'm asking you to reconsider and think about it tonight, and because of the scheduling issue, if it can be discussed tonight and finalized tonight, that would help me out a lot when it comes to scheduling for the other officers. Anybody have any questions about any of the numbers and anything like that? Thank you.
I'll bring that up, set a committee meeting, discuss that, and push it off 2 weeks. I understand that there are the restraints hours schedule, which is scheduling, but I will set that for a full committee, next meeting, at 6 o'clock. Do you have anything else at that time? Okay. Fire.
I actually have a question. The fire chief from Green Township contacted me about some information from the paper explain to you, Kevin. The policy of EMS canceling other departments when they've been brought to the other departments, if they're able to get a second person. That doesn't affect. I don't think we've ever voted on that policy, so I don't believe it is. I thought it was just a change. Well, apparently he's trying to put it in policy already, so, that. And secondly, my fire chief, the Green Township Fire Chief, has some issues with that, cause if they get pulled out of the building, they're still expensive with their vehicle, to their personnel, and if they come down to Route 40 and turn around and come back, he said basically they're gonna put it in policy, bill me something for that. So, there could be repercussions for that policy. I don't know if we wanna get into that, like with neighboring departments. So, just something to think about. Somebody should really contact Seth and make sure there's not something like that, but the council is not passed with that. That's all I have.
Yeah, we did not have a vote, which is recommendation at that point, that's the policy. So there is, should that
Gary got this assessment number the day. I was gonna address it, so there's other issues as well, and I don't know if this was, that's one of the issues we wanted to address. I'll try to do that. Does he have, he has another job, though?
Yes, he works, 7 part-time, and that's he changed over to Metro. He was with one of the units, stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll, like, that policy is not in effect until we get it typed up and council puts on it, so, make sure on that one there. All right, anything else under EMS? Street, Mr. Phillips?
Okay, thank this time on the streets.
Cemetery, Chapel. Water sewer, Mr. Phillips?
Yes, we are currently looking for a leak in the main water line again on State Street. That would be in the area from Madison Street west. We definitely have a leak. Our guys are out tonight looking and locating. There's at least one leak, if not 2 leaks. This is the third main leak that we've had in that line within a couple of months.
Size is that one?
It's an 8-inch line. But what I'm gonna do is I'm currently working with our engineer to draw up some plans and get some projected costs, because I think we're gonna have to replace that line. It's a very deep line, and we wanna bring it up out of the depth it's at now. There's no reason for it to be as deep as it is, but the line needs replacement. This is the third leak that we've had in just a few months.
We're just gonna bring that line up.
We're gonna put a new line, I'll replace the old line, link the old line down and where it's at, and just put a new line bob and connect, and we'll have to run out.
The line that it's connected to, is them lines D2, or is it, is them line shallow?
A lot of the lines that are hooked to the main line are up high. We really don't know why they ever ran that one line so deep. There may be a reason that we're not aware of, but right now, as many times as we've dug down there, we found no reason for that line to be as deep as it is. And the problem with it is you have a leak, and we're paying sales for water, any loss is just like dollar bills going down the drain, you know, so we need to look at that line and replace it. And I'll be getting something together, cost estimate, some plans together. I'm gonna look for some grants and outside funding and try to get it done as soon as we can, hopefully this year yet. And if all goes well tonight, we can, pinpoint where the leaks are. We know there's 2 leaks right now.
How do
And
we know that? No money asked.
sounding equipment. We have a company that comes in that does nothing but looks for water line leaks. They have equipment that they put into the ground, in some places they drive probes down, and they have equipment they hook on them probes that listens for leaks underneath. And believe it or not, you can really, you'd be amazed at the sound of a little water line leak will make on a line. So that's how they do it. As soon as we can pinpoint the leaks, and that's what they're doing tonight, we will, try to get all the utilities marked and get the contractor lined up, and we'll probably be trying to dig out and repair it as soon as possible.
We, did get a water bill from Salem today. Last month was pretty reasonable, but days was not for the 403 period, it was pretty high. Everybody was still fighting.
I think that last water leak, we were looking at about $5,000 more on the water bill.
And unfortunately, you fix a leak and another one pops up on the sweep lab. Once you fix that pressure shows up elsewhere, it just keeps you chasing it down the line, so. Unless you replace the whole thing, you're gonna fix the problem.
Anytime you depressurize the system and repressurize an old system, it's not good. We repressurize at a very slow pace. Like people will say, well, you know, we crack about maybe a quarter of a turn. We can just hear water starting to flow. A lot of places crank them valves open and let that water fly. Boy, it just creates more problems than you solve. So we're as gentle as we can, because we know our lines are 100, 150 years old. You got to treat them like they're 150 years old. But that line is definitely going to need replacement. So I'm working on that with the engineering and get the process right together. So, just to give you an idea. That's all I have.
Anything else on the streets, water? Zoning? Just an update, the zoning book, the draft zoning books will be going out to the, planning commission. They'll be receiving on February 3rd, Friday for their review. Give them about 2 weeks, and then we'll set up an actual meeting for them to review it before we bring it before the council. So they will have the, books in hand by, this Friday, start reviewing. Anything else under zoning? All right. Shade Tree. Do you have anything else on parks? Miscellaneous items? All right. Brought up the, Port Authority contacted me. Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Sorry, Commander. In addressing the, Port Authority, the lights of the Port Authority, to take over, I need a motion by council to be able to accept those street lights, by council on board with that.
Yes, they are street lights. They're street lights. When they first put the industrial park in, and we had GEI up there, GEI wanted some street lighting, and Tracy Drake was the director at the time. He just went ahead and put the street lights in. They've been paying the bill ever since they were put in. They are in the villages right away. They are street lights, and the Port Authority is just asking the village to assume the cost on that. So.
Make that motion.
Thank you.
The only thing, I would like to add to that, as I am looking with the Port Authority, I would like to see the transfer over to LED to save on cost. It might be an initial upfront cost, to save the village, some money down the road, but, so they will, potentially go half on half, I'd like to do that expenditure. Any other discussions? Roll call.
Fire. Yes. Barry. Yes. Earl. Yes. Keeler. Yes. Garlow.
Yes.
Alright, this time I'd like to, review, probably, talk about compensation, so, sounds like we're moving in that direction.
Make a motion to go into executive session to discuss board meeting compensation.
Just, handle myself right now, call some other business. Before we, dismiss, like, so the meeting will open back up after the executive session, but there'll be a committee held at 6 o'clock on February 15th.
Commissioner brought this up for parks, but, whoever's in charge of the Christmas light at the park, and now the Christmas lights are still on there. This is the first of February, I think they could be shut off or
Somebody
taken down.
needs to wake up and do that, 'cause I am not climbing no ladders to tear that stuff down.
Thank you, dear.
And when you're tearing down them ugly things, throw them in the garbage. Take a look at them, you'll see, they're rat infested.
All right, Gary, you wanna, I know you sent one of your guys up there,
I'll take that.
take those down.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you, Gary.
What's your address?
All right. Roll call.
Meyer. Yes. Barry. Yes. Earl. Yes. Steeler.
Yeah.
Barlow.
Yes.
we put it out about the road being closed.
Oh, yes. One thing I would like to mention,
Yeah, we can.
we talked about hours. High Street closed between Oak and Elm. We'd like to make it a permanent closure. Tossing that idea around on the public review. You hear that here?
I was just gonna say, if we're gonna do that, can we do it by ordinance and do 3 readings and put it out? And that way the public knows it, in case somebody up there wants to come to a meeting and.
They'll have like a month or so.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, we can put it out now in the paper.
We want them to,
Oh.
or you want to wait?
Well, let's set a committee, a road committee. I know I do things all the time, but that would be to publish it in the morning journal in San Luis. It would have
Do it the first meeting of.
We'll do a street
next
meeting,
month.
yeah, we'll do March, yeah.
You want me to draft an ordinance or not?
Yeah, have something ready for you. Not here the first, though.
From where to where are we closing it?
Oak to Elm.
Oak down.
We're closing.
High Street between Oak and Elm.
I say, you know, we couldn't give a whole section of property to the homeowners, like Kevin. I don't think that house.
You're not vacating the street, so you're giving the property away, you're just
We're
closing.
just gonna permanently close it due to erosion of the roadway. Because the south side of the roadway is eroding away, Chip, and the guardrails are falling over, and it's really, we made it into a one-lane road, because two cars, it wasn't safe.